How's everybody doing? Happy Friday, by the way. So today we're going to talk about my personal and transformational journey, where Tableau played quite a significant role. As a matter of fact, I was browsing through Tableau's website and noticed that its mission and vision revolves around three tenets, such as democratizing data, empowering people, and designing for people. And that resonated with me so much because of my own experience a little over a year ago that actually touched on every single tenet, and how I've got so much motivation, opportunity, and freedom to impact the entire business globally at scale. And at the same time, I was transforming my own career because I was learning new technical skills like Tableau, and also becoming even more passionate solving difficult business challenges with data and insights. So I'd like to start briefly talking about myself, how I actually got to this stage today, then move on to the business challenge that I experienced at LinkedIn at the time. Obviously, I want to share some of the examples of my dashboard that I shared with the team and how I position it with the team specifically. And then wrap up the session with learnings from my own experience around data visualization with Tableau and also dashboard development processes. So here's my road to visiting you all today. I started my career at Google back in Dublin, partnering with biggest online publishers in Europe. And that's where I learned a great deal about Google Analytics, web analytics, search engine optimization, and all other techniques to drive traffic to websites. Then later in my career, I joined LinkedIn, the wonderful company, where I worked as a partner manager and working with partners all over the Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And then moved to the US, and most recently joined sales team as a client solutions manager. But ultimately, I joined the insights team as a senior insights analyst to tell the story, actually on this stage, how I went literally knowing nothing about Tableau or data visualization or SQL to building a big dashboard that was used across multiple teams. I'd like to step back a little and share this quote from one of the emails that my colleague in Canada sent out to me quite unexpectedly after I shared it with my team. So she said that this tracker is quite possibly the most beautiful thing I've seen in my time at LinkedIn. And she's been at LinkedIn quite a long time, so a number of years. What she meant by beautiful thing is actually a combination of different things, such as overall layout and design, ease of use, but most importantly, ability to derive insights to a multitude of different business questions as you naturally explore data in the dashboard. And I truly believe that anyone within your organizations can create this remarkable data experience and light up someone's day, because your dash will provide long overdue answers to most critical business questions that end users probably had in mind for quite a while. But it has to start somewhere. So I'd like to share a bit of a history that preceded my ambitious goals building dashboards for my teams. Internally, LinkedIn Marketing Solutions ad business was really difficult to manage. I was personally responsible for just under 100 different accounts in the higher education space. And if you're a client, you'll be using ad platform, which is called Campaign Manager, and that's where you create advertising campaign. And the data from it will be stored in our data warehouse in real time. But you can imagine now multiplying by thousands and thousands of campaigns, suddenly we have to deal with millions upon millions of data points every single day. So obviously the need for very sophisticated dashboard suddenly become one of the most pressing ones for us. But luckily, we have great engineering teams, we have product, we have data science teams. They all rolled up the sleeves and got to work. And pretty much every single year in my time, there were so many different trackers for us, pretty much a little bit better than the previous trackers. And I've seen totally automated Google Docs. I've seen also totally created from scratch JavaScript applications, and also dashboards in Tableau. So that's how I got familiar a little bit with dashboards. And obviously, something that I noticed in those trackers that sometimes there was too many things going on the screen, or filters taking half of the screen. I couldn't find the relevant information for myself. And sometimes there are certain features that were alienating more and more people. So obviously because we couldn't find answers to most critical questions again. And I've been at LinkedIn long enough to observe this mounting frustration, this brewing frustration across different teams, trying to figure out ways how to keep track performance. And I still vividly remember kind of painful experience coming up with notes at the end of every single month, because our leadership wanted to see a more realistic picture of what was going on in the business. And that's because they were using different dashboards with disconnected data between them. So obviously, we needed something much better across all levels of organization. And we still had to do our jobs. Number of accounts were growing faster and faster. And out of this frustration, we started to create Google Docs, where we manually were inputting all the data. I had my own personal Excel spreadsheet at the time, where every single quarter I had to create a new tab, and pretty much copy-pasting a lot of data, kind of adjust it, and it was just a nightmare. So obviously I spent a long time just doing this task. And if I really wanted to kind of do a deeper analysis that spans across several quarters or even years, I couldn't do that. I just didn't have any time. So I had to go to a totally different team, which had to produce this report for me. And you can imagine all other teams were doing exactly the same thing. They wanted to have the same report, so the lead times were extremely long. And speaking of manual entry, I mean, who loves manual entry? Would you still do it if you don't have to? I wouldn't. We estimated that we were spending 240 hours per year just entering manual data. And if you put that into perspective, if you're a big fan of Lord of the Rings, you can read the entire series 5 times over. Or you can do all other cool things. And I caught myself actually inputting manual data into my tracker on Sunday night, and I said to myself, why in the hell in 2018 I'm entering all the data manually into spreadsheets? It didn't make any sense to me. So I started asking questions, because I wanted to understand what's going on with the existing trackers, why there's the disconnect in the data, and why do we need a better solution? So I wanted to hear directly from the team. And they told me the first thing is data accuracy. They were seeing different data for exactly the same accounts. And that's why the trust was lost, and we started creating personal spreadsheets. Data granularity didn't allow, again, for a deep dive, for a deeper analysis that, again, spans across several quarters, and you can go as deeply as you want. We couldn't do that with existing trackers. And look and feel. The existing trackers were, again, difficult to understand. We had to go through a very lengthy training, but really we wanted to have something simple, something that resembled our own trackers that we created in our Google Docs or spreadsheets. So I wanted to actually understand every single area, kind of how can I attack it? So I wanted to understand what is the true source for data accuracy? How can I validate data for my future dashboard? And I didn't have to think about that for too long, because Campaign Manager, which is ad platform that clients are using, is the true source. And that's where all the data is. So all I needed to do is to download a very detailed report with all the metrics for my project and just replicate that and then move on to the next area, which is data granularity. So I asked engineers at LinkedIn, okay, what's going on? Why we don't have this data granularity? And they explained to me the primary reason is if we have a lot of data, it's going to slow down every single tracker. It's going to be super slow. So I kind of went the other way. I wanted to limit data sets to, let's say, last 6 months and just my accounts, that's it. So I can get to that granular level, because for me, the most important goal is to get to this granular level and then think about optimization performance later and scaling it later as well. And then obviously move on to the next area, which is look and feel. And with look and feel, it was kind of interesting, because when I was looking at every single tracker, personal tracker that people were creating, I noticed obviously there was a lot of tables in there. You can't really go and create difficult visualizations. And that's what people kind of get used to it. after using it for a while. So I asked, what is the most single important insights that you care about the most every time when you open the tracker? Is it a table? Is it a chart? And they told me, all we want to see is the accounts on the left-hand side, and then months at the top and revenue against it. That's all they wanted to see every time when they opened the tracker. And I said, if I can automate this, would you use it? They said, yeah, 100%, definitely use it, but can you build it? I said, yeah, sure, no problem. I'll try. And that's how kind of my dashboard vision has emerged, because I knew what the first step should be. I need to recreate that previous table that my team shared with me. So I set my personal goal for the quarter to create 100% accurate, up-to-date tracker that will be super simple to use, but yet sophisticated to provide high-level and also detailed performance insights. And I also made big promises to the team and myself that it will be fast, accurate, and reliable. No need to worry about all those issues that you shared with me before about accuracy. It will have maximum granularity that will allow you to explore data in any kind of cut or slice you want. And with Cherry on top, it will have very simple visualizations. Kind of your tracker, but on steroids. It's going to be automated. You don't have to do anything manually anymore, and it's going to help you in your day-to-day job. But I had a problem. I had none of experience in Tableau or SQL, so pretty ambitious goal. So really kind of set this for myself. I only have 3 months to learn Tableau and SQL. So here's my rapid learning timeline. Anyone who's non-technical can do exactly the same in under 2 months, because I did it. And special shout out to Tableau community, because every time when I got stuck with something, I found answers, very detailed answers and examples. So thanks Tableau community to help me. Okay, so as I was getting more confidence and experience building this future dashboard, I kind of wanted to outline a process that I need to go to so I don't forget anything. It always started with very efficient SQL query, and then I didn't want to update it manually every day, so at LinkedIn we use Azkaban Workflow Scheduler, which is a software where you can schedule any kind of script to be just automated, just to run it in sequence. So let's say SQL query first, and then next in the workflow I can set that, okay, let's now refresh extract in Tableau. So SQL first and then extract. And that was done pretty much. So I had more time to focus on feedback. And I was asking a lot of questions. What's going on with the dash that I'm developing with this prototype? What's working, what's not working? I was shadowing how people were using it. And as soon as I had clear next steps, I knew exactly what to do, and basically this process repeated itself multiple times, sometimes multiple times per day. So after 3 months, learning Tableau and kind of experimenting with the design and everything, I released this dashboard to the team, and it looks very simple. I purposely kept design very simple because it resembled the personal trackers that we had in Google Docs and spreadsheets. And I said, the account performance per month is right in the middle. The moment you open the dash, it's right there. So instead of highlighting features and filters and kind of explaining how Tableau works, I kind of went the other way. I wanted to really explain significant value that my dash can deliver in their day-to-day jobs, especially around actionable insights. So it's not, hey, here's another tracker for you, but something really special that every single data point will deliver a lot of value for them. So I said, time to be effective and efficient. Here's the 3 areas that will help you to be effective. So number 1, you're going to impress your boss. You're going to lead strategic one-on-one conversations with your manager, because you're going to have all those insights and data from the dashboard now. You're going to impress your clients with deepest knowledge of their accounts, but also industry or overall. And you're going to appreciate some of the features in Tableau that will kind of prompt you to come back multiple times per day. So let's start with the first one. How did I position it to really impress their boss? At LinkedIn, sales managers, especially in ad business, have pretty much in every single one-on-one, they ask 3 questions. Question number 1, how much is each account contributing per month? And I knew immediately where this account performance per month insight was coming from, because their managers were asking it pretty much every single time. What about week-over-week trend? Which accounts are performing an upwards momentum of performance and which ones are declining? And the third one, what's your best estimate forecast for this quarter? Pretty much all of them time-based. And I said, this is exactly what my tracker can provide to you within minutes, instead of you going through manually downloading all the data or doing all this unnecessary work. Now you can get the insights very, very quickly. So I'm going to go through all the examples, how I positioned it. How much is each account contributing per month? And I said, this is exactly what you asked for. Very clean design. It's just a table, nothing super fancy. You'll see all your ultimate parent accounts from Salesforce on the left-hand side and months at the top with revenue. But I said that the beauty of hierarchy functionality, that it will allow you to deep dive into any kind of account and go all the way to campaign. And each account can have hundreds of different campaigns. And I said, by clicking on that little plus above the account name, you can do that, you can expand it. And I made sure instructions also were there, just in case if they forgot about it. So there was error, and salespeople are busy, and I just want to make sure that they didn't forget about this functionality. What about week-over-week trend? I decided to kind of combine 2 charts, because like any trend, it requires visualization. So the trend for revenue, but also individual performance of every single week, because managers wanted to see which week performs well and which ones are kind of in decline. And basically all of the account managers, they can select multiple accounts in the filter or just one account, and again see how the trend changes. What's your best estimate forecast for this quarter? I decided to kind of use calculated fields and based on average delivery to see how much each account will deliver by the end of the quarter, and then compare it versus the previous quarter and color code it, kind of provide like a traffic light for me and my manager to see how I'm doing. Now, if we don't do anything, this is what's going to happen at the end of the quarter. So if everything is red, then naturally we start talking about strategies to close the gap, or everything is blue. We still need to understand, what did I do to have this great performance? Actually, I'm going to overachieve my goal, and then we think about how we can share best practices with my team, who probably in the red zone, and we'll help them out. Next is impressing clients with deep knowledge of their accounts and in industry. I decided to ask every single possible combination of metrics that clients cared about the most, especially in advertising. And with parameters, you can easily create this menu and then the chart behind it. And then once you select it, exactly the chart that you need, you can take a screenshot of it, put it into a deck, and send it to the client. So instead of, again, downloading all this data and creating all these charts manually, you can easily create this nice menu of different metrics that sales reps can use and then share it with clients. This was a little bit of experimentation on my side. I kind of went away from typical line chart and bar charts to introduce bubble chart. And what that means is every single bubble, that's the ad that's actually served on LinkedIn platform. And the bigger the bubble, the more people actually saw it on LinkedIn platform, which means it's kind of popular. And if it's above the average line, it's performing really well. So I said, it's worth highlighting to your clients. The team actually raved about this chart because for the first time, they could see every single best performing ad across the entire sector, across all accounts in, let's say, higher education industry or financial service industry. And they can click on that bubble and it will take them to the platform where they can take screenshot of the creative and again share it with their clients either through newsletter or through email. So very popular chart. Other features that end users appreciated kind of created this nice experience. The first thing I did is to use filters, like user filters, to ensure that every time when a sales rep opens the dash, all the data is pre-filtered only to their own accounts. So that's the first time I did it. I've never seen it before in any trackers on LinkedIn. It kind of creates this personal experience for a sales team because, oh, I can see only my accounts, perfect. I can see my quota, and I don't have to select anything from the menus like my name. Obviously, you have to be connected to your internal network and Tableau Server for it to work. I also introduced another visualization which is called gainers and losers for the past 2 weeks, kind of extension of the quarterly and monthly performance, because in our business, we want to make sure that we spot trends as quickly as possible in the last 2 weeks. If something the client changed in their campaign or advertising in the last 2 weeks, we will notice that and we'll be very proactive with the clients. And again, if client asks us a question, we can come back within an hour. So turnaround times were immediately improved, which clients appreciated. My favorite is dynamic hyperlinking. I kind of touched on it with the bubble chart when you can click on it and then it will take you to the platform. So I did that for every single data point in any table. And I said, if you're interested in a particular account, if you really want to know what's going on in the platform, you can just click on that data point within table. It will take you to the platform. So with dynamic, so you can see account ID. So obviously every single advertising campaign at LinkedIn has account ID and campaign ID. So if you click, it will take you exactly to the page where that particular campaign is. So again, super useful and create this nice experience for the team. So you want to develop a Tableau dashboard that will add a lot of value across organizations, save enormous amount of time, and overall will create this nice experience and make everyone better at their jobs every day. Obviously, nail the value prop. That's what I started. I asked this question: what is the single most important thing that you care about the most that will make you come back multiple times per day? And for me, it was account performance per month. So I started there, and after that it was like a snowball effect. I was just keep adding more and more things based on feedback from end users. And that's exactly what that was. Make sure to ask a lot of questions. For me, I was kind of on the same team, so I knew a lot of challenges and kind of issues, so I just want to validate that. But if you are not on the same team, if you're a developer, if you're an engineer, data scientist, then create a tiger team and invite the most passionate end users to that team so they can share ongoing feedback with you, because you are creating this next generation dashboard that will address their business needs. So they obviously will be more than willing to share this feedback with you. Another thing that kind of astonished me when I was developing dashboard for the first time is that I could quickly introduce new features, change little things based on feedback within an hour. Because Tableau doesn't require any coding in the UI, and that's something you can't really afford if you're working with internal engineering teams on the tool, kind of in-house tool completely. Because if you want to do, like if you want to make a small change, they will have to stop everything, and that's probably not going to happen. So again, Tableau is very fast if you really want to do a prototype or test something. And finally, set the bar very high for cross-functional teams. My dashboard was used as an example where engineers or product or data scientists need to focus on. So that's business needs. And that set the bar very high in terms of how to create this remarkable experience. And I've seen a lot of improvements in most recent dashboards that were introduced, a lot better experience. And something that I always said to all those teams, the engineering teams, is I created something that worked for me first. So I addressed all the business needs that and issues that were kind of with existing trackers. I kind of reversed everything and created something that worked for me. And then why not sharing it with the entire team first? I did that. And then the team kind of spread the word with all other multiple teams, even not in the US, but also Canada and in Europe. So it kind of went viral a little bit, the dashboard that I developed. So with that, I'd like to announce an integration between Tableau and LinkedIn. LinkedIn specifically Sales Navigator tool. So there's integration now that will help your organizations to improve sales effectiveness and maximize productivity of your sales team, because now you'll have all this usage data and also customer engagement data through this product Sales Navigator tool. So if you have any questions about this tool, we have booth 1132. And yeah, so especially if you have already licenses for the two products, you're definitely eligible for this integration. And with that, thank you so much for attending this session. I really appreciate it, and have a great weekend. Thank you.